Neil Thomas's 1 Hour War Games. Practical tabletop battles for those with limited time and space, available at most of your online retailers. I think I got this from Amazon, but it's been a few years. You know what I really like about this book? Low time investment. You know, sometimes you just want to get some figures on the table, shove some little soldiers around and roll some dice. You don't have a big campaign planned out. You don't have time to develop a whole bunch of rosters. You just want to get some stuff on the table. And this book is one of the OG all-time greats for that. As is Hell March. Can't recommend it enough, by Alchemic Raker with art by EZA. This particular game, what do you got? Light, medium, heavy infantry, light, medium, heavy cavalry. Throw them on the table. Get going. We're not going to play that tonight. We've played a few games of that. We're going to revisit an old favorite, and I haven't done any like really big battle Napoleonics in a while. So why don't we go ahead and figure out what game we're going to play? I do want to do some Napoleonics. I don't know what it is. In the spring, a young man's thoughts turn to love. In fall, old man's thoughts turn to, could I have done better at Ney at Waterloo? Spoiler alert, pretty much all of us could. Just do what Napoleon told you, man. Don't get fancy. Settle down. Don't get crazy out of... Anyway, D30, we got to figure out which scenario we're doing. We are going to be playing... That was a 28. Take my word for it. It's a little tricky with the big fat die. Scenario number 28 is called Botched Relief. The Blue Army is assaulting it. And let's just go with it. The Blue Army is the French. They're assaulting a town held by red units, meaning the British. A British relief force is deployed on the hill and poised to assist, but the commander is proving rather inert. It ain't old Wellesley, is it? The Red Army has 6 units. The Blue Army has 4. All right, stick a pin in that. We'll come back to it. What do you mean it's got 6? What do you mean it's got 4? If you haven't seen this book, this is just a phenomenal intro to wargaming, by the way. If you're looking to get into it, if you're looking to get somebody else into wargaming, this is a great way to go. When you have a unit in the Napoleonic era, it's been a while. I'm going to have to read through this real quick. I like it because you can get brushed up on it pretty quick. I remember all the units have 15 hit points. We have, as with each of the eras, 4 different kinds of units. There are infantry units. There are skirmishers, artillery, and cavalry. Easy peasy. When you want to figure out who's going to be doing what, you have to, I think it's right before, there we go. Armies with 6 units. You roll a d6, and it will tell you exactly what your body count is. Well, oh boy, that's taken on a whole new term these days, doesn't it? I'm going to roll 2 dice. It should be pretty obvious which is for which. The French roll a 4, and the British roll a 1. And so that means, which results in matched forces that look a little something like this. The French have 1, 2, 3 infantry and 1 unit of artillery. Notice I'm using 2 stands this time. As long as the frontages are the same, shouldn't be an issue. We will use casualty counters, probably D20s, just to keep track. Remember that you are effective up to 15. Basically, each stand has 15 hit points. On the British side, we've got 1, 2, 3 infantry. Then with their result of a 1, they also get 2 artillery and 1 unit of cavalry. I don't have enough red painted figures for all of the artillery. So we have an allied unit of Austrians, I guess. Well, maybe let's make this peninsular and we'll make these guys a unit of Spanish. How about that, huh? There you go. And those of you that know a lot more about Napoleonics can probably tell me exactly where this scenario fits. Is it on the road to not Carcassonne? What are some of the battles that took place there? So I want to say Saragossa, and I don't think that's right. So I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to predict. And the terrain is actually rather simple that Mr. Thomas gives us. There's a hill over here, over the 2/3, so that's going to be a little ridge. And then there's a road running up the hill, running up the lane here with a built-up area where our village is. And the way this works, the Red Army deploys 2 units within 12 inches of the northern table edge facing south, 4 units on the hill facing east. Then the Blue Army has all 4 units within 6 inches of the southern table edge. Because remember, the French are assaulting this town. After deployment, the table looks something like this. Sharp-eyed viewers will note that we are playing at half scale. We're packing this big battle into a very tiny space with 2mm figures from irregular miniatures. A lot of fun. The French win by taking the town before the end of turn 15. If the British and their Spanish allies can hold off the French, they win. The difficulty that the British have is that these units, infantry, artillery, cavalry, can only come onto the field to play one at a time. Until that unit is eliminated from the game, the rest of the units on the hill have to stay there. Now, the good news is, if you're on a hill or in a town, you take half damage from all firing. The artillery can fire across the table. The infantry can fire up to 6 inches. Nobody can enter hand-to-hand combat except for the cavalry. The cavalry, if they don't destroy a unit, they'll have to back off 6 inches. So that gives us a lot of really interesting choices to make on both sides of the ball. The French do get to go first, and because we're playing at half scale, our infantry are simply going to march forward 3 inches at a time, like so. The artillery are not going to move. It is a move or shoot game. The artillery will then open fire, and remember, they only do half damage. So who do we want to shoot at? I think we're going to go ahead and shoot at this closest infantry unit. They're going to take half damage. And we roll a d6. Because this is artillery, we subtract 2 from the score. And whoops, if you're on a hill, you don't take half damage. It's only if you're in the woods. So we roll a d6, and we get 4, which means this unit has taken 2 casualties. They are red, so we will put down 2. A little spin down die. I use that because I like these when I'm using casualties, because look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can find the next number very simply. So they have now taken 2 damage. Now it is the British turn, and the first thing we're going to do is have to nominate a unit. We want to slow these guys down. We're going to have to keep very careful track of which turn it is. I have a turn marker right here. As you can see, it is turn number 1. We'll put that right back there. The British obviously aren't going to move them. We can move the cavalry, and maybe we want the cavalry to come take out this artillery. And the nice thing, what I really like about moving the cavalry first, is that with their 6-inch move, they're going to get stuck in really quick. So we will bring them, not only that, but we're going to bring them down here so that they're out of the lane of fire of the artillery. And on the next turn, they can dive in and do some serious damage. Maybe I'll use the 6-inch ruler. That might make a little more sense for this. And because all of the French moved except for this guy. Now, if they pivot, they can't fire. So they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. We do have 1 shot here. This Spanish artillery will fire at this. Well, let's fire at the leading edge here, okay? And with a 1, they're going to get no result. That's the end of turn number 1. So we advance our shot clock to 2, and the French will move another 3 inches, like so, and like so. And now, as you can see, why didn't the guys in the town shoot? Well, the French were out of range. The French artillery will go ahead and then fire at this unit again. And that is, I'm sorry, I rolled the wrong color die, but that's okay. So with 3, that brings this unit up to 5 casualties. Remember, at 15, they're eliminated from the game. We know what's about to happen. It's okay. Everybody's moved. There's no firing for the French. That means the British get to go. And for movement, the first thing we'll do is move to contact. Now, bear in mind, there's no real flanking in this. This is, I don't know, division, regimental scale. It's a big enough scale that this is fine. That when you move, you pivot at the start of your move, and then you make your full move. Okay? Pretty easy. Let's see. They started 3, 6, 9. So on the next turn, they'll be able to move up to shooting distance from the unit in the town. Is there anything else I need to do here for these guys? For cannon fire, is it melee fire? It's move, shoot, melee. Okay. Another shot at, 45 degrees. Let's shoot at this guy first. What do you say? Using the red die, the Spanish do no damage once again. And I think, oh, then these guys can also fire here, and they're going to get 4 points of damage on the French. Like so. The infantry fire, oh, let's see. They can fire 3 inches, and these guys are 3 inches away, so I feel comfortable with that. That's a good way to do this. Then we do melee, and cavalry are really powerful. And just like that, I stand corrected. If you contact somebody in the flank, you do double the normal amount of hits. Cavalry fighting cavalry, by the way, you half the number of hits. You can charge another cavalry unit. Only the attacker does damage, but cavalry fight well against cavalry. Artillery, not so much. So we roll a d6, add 2, and then double that. We get 6, 12. That's 12 points of damage on this artillery unit. But because it is still alive, the French unit now has to retreat 3 inches. And that's going to take them back to here. They can charge again the next turn and probably wipe out this unit, but that does buy these guys some more time to get up into the town. Everybody has gone, so that is the end of turn 2, and we advance to turn number 3. The French activate, and they move to within 1 inch in both cases. Here, and we'll bring this guy up to within charge radius as well. So we've moved, now we shoot. And the only unit we have that can shoot, wait a minute, where did my casualty die go? There we go, he's still got 12. Don't worry, he's got his 12. We're on turn number 3. He's going to take another shot at, well, let's shoot at this unit this time. We want whoever comes on the board to be at least somewhat damaged. It might be the difference between a full force and, that one turn can make all the difference in the world. That's it for shooting. That's it for the British turn. The French now get to go. And of course, as we said, we're going to charge here into the flank. And then we're going to fire at this unit. We do 1 point of damage. So we drop a casualty die down there. And then these guys are going to shoot here. Where did my casualty die go for them? Remember, they took 4 points of damage. Then we roll just a straight d6. And we get a 1, taking them up to 5. And that will be the end of the turn. No, we got to do this casualty. Obviously, this artillery is going to go bye-bye. So, well, and historical result, right? If cavalry can get into the flank of artillery, they're going to take them out in record time. But they bought time, didn't they? And these 3 units still have to wait their turn. It is now turn number 4, and the French have the opportunity. The French infantry have been taking it on the chin. We're going to fire at the artillery unit. Going to get a whopping 6 points of damage. And we're going to fire at the unit in the town. Because they're in the town, they take half damage. That is going to be a 3. Do we round fractions up or down? Neil says to round any fractions in favor of the attacker. That means our town defenders will take a whopping 2 points of damage. They're going to have to hang. They should be able to hang on pretty well if that keeps up. So 2 points of damage, 5 there. And I think it's time. There's one last move we want to make here. And that's this unit right here. This trailing infantry unit. And now that I've read the rules, these guys should have been drifting like so. We're going to turn one of these guys. Rewind. I'm going to just retcon this. They're now in square. This unit cannot be charged by the cavalry. In fact, I'm going to also rule that they have a zone of control of 1 inch. The cavalry cannot move within 1 inch of these guys, or it's going to be bad news bears for them. Is that fair? Is that just? I think it keeps with the historical flavor. I think it's fine, but of course I wouldn't I? It takes these cavalry out of the fight almost entirely. Not completely, though, because on the French turn, they can pivot, and they can move 6 inches to here, and it looks like they will be able to charge this unit on the next turn after all. Okay, fair enough. Is there any other movement on the British side? Of course there's not. This unit will have to take d6 hit points. They'll take 3. That knocks them down to just 8. And there's our 8. And then the artillery are going to fire grape shot at this unit. and they will do a total of, now remember we subtract 2 from this, so that will do 2 more points of damage. So these guys roll down to 3. And that's it for the French turn. Now, wait a minute. What am I doing? I misspoke. That was it for turn number 4. We advance to turn number 5. This British unit of infantry comes out of square and marches. So we'll come out of square. You get a free pivot, like so, and then they can march 3 inches to here. Got to try and protect that flank as best we can. By putting themselves here, they protect the flank of this other unit right here. And we should be very careful that we know which of these goes with which unit. Now the French get to fire. We're going to fire at the artillery first. We do 3 more points of damage, taking the artillery up to 9. With a lucky roll on the next shot, we'll be able to take the Spanish artillery out of the game. And then we get a 2, which becomes a 1, so just 3 points of damage for the town defenders. As I said, the French get to go, and the only movement that they have is charging this unit of infantry. They did their job. It's a shame they can't form square after they've moved. Them's the breaks. They're going to have to take one. It's going to be +2. They take 5 points of damage. But the cavalry now have to retreat 3 inches to here, which will put them in musket fire range. They're going to take a few shots. Then the artillery fires at -2. They get 4, so finally showing they finally found the good grape shot. And then this unit in the town will fire, and they're going to do 3 more points of damage, taking this French unit to 11 wounds. They've only got 4 left. But that will be it for the British turn. We advance the clock to turn number 6, and I think the British are feeling pretty comfortable here. It's a lot of casualties on the attackers. But now it's time to get some of their own back. The French will fire at again, there's no movement here because we're just that far in, and the cavalry will take 5 points of damage. The artillery, with a 6, they'll be eliminated from the game. And we got it. The Spanish artillery did what they could, but they are now out of the game. And maybe that's a game changer. Maybe that high roll with the wrong color die makes all the difference. This infantry unit will fire on the town. And they will get 3 points of damage now, taking the defenders to 6. But the British get to go. So we have another melee, which will do a total of 5 more points to this flank defender. That puts them at 10. 1 more of those, and they're out of the game. We'll see if it goes that long. And then 1 more shot at this attacker will do a total of 5 points, and that will take this attacking column out of the game. But that is it for the British. Turn number 7. The British are now come to grips. Did I do the... Yes, I did. Okay, I did everybody. The French get to go now. We'll call this the 45 degrees. Probably should have put the artillery way over here, right? That might have cost them a turn of shooting, but it really would have defended that flank a little bit better. Oh well, you live and learn. That's how these things work when you're not doing real war. If you're just doing play war, you can approach our little mini world through that approach. You can approach it through that approach. I'm a very good talker. We don't have any movement. We're going to shoot at the cavalry, and we're going to do 5 more points of damage. If they can hang on with a low roll, they may be able to win this. Then we're going to fire over here on the boys in the town. And if we can roll we need to do 9 points of damage. If we can roll an 18, we'll knock them out. No, we only do 3 more points. That takes the townies up to 9. Defending a town gives you a serious power-up in Napoleonics. The French cavalry will charge the British cavalry will charge, and they will do a total of 6 points of damage, which eliminates these defenders, and that will put them right here And now I think the French are in serious trouble because all they can really do on turn number 8 is fire at the boys in the town. And, it doesn't, whatever they get. So we get 2 more points. That takes the town guys up to 11. And I just think the mix of forces was not good for them. Maybe I mishandled the French. Maybe I'm no Napoleon. It's possible. With double damage on the charge, it's pretty much over. Yep, so the French are completely routed. I don't know what the strategic situation is here. Maybe this is a spoiling attack. Maybe this was a delaying attack. Maybe it was a probing attack. And these 3 regiments were just meant to hold this flank. And by holding it into turn number 8, they met their objective. But from a game perspective, I think the real thing here, the real piece of genius was bringing the cavalry. It's the only cavalry on the field. Bring them out and just start hammering that French flank. I think that was the game changer for the British. If the French had had 1 unit of cavalry, leaving them around here, running around and delaying all of these relief forces, that might have been a game changer and allowed these 3 units. I think this is a fair fight. The 3v2 with a town being defended, I think that's going to go 50-50. By having 1 unit of cavalry over here, delaying these 3, they might have bought enough time for that 3-2 advantage to really take hold. But as it is, we got to play out a fun little game, get a little fix of shoving tiny little 2mm. Look how tiny these are. They're so adorable. Little baby cavalry. Look at those guys. I painted the horses different colors. This is just a tile grout, by the way. That's been dry brushed a couple of times. The classic Warhammer paint scheme. But it works really great in 2mm with these little 1-inch bases. 9 whole eras that you can play. And at this scale, you can probably use the same figures for 2 or maybe even 3 different eras. We could use these for American Civil War. We could use that, well, they call it rifle and I don't know what Neil Thomas's preferred pronouns are, but he seems like a normal person, so he probably uses the normal ones. Rifle and saber, let's just count back, shall we? So there's rifle and saber, horse and musket, and what's before that? Pike and shot? That might be kind of a reach. You might be able to get away with it, but I think you really, because it's the age of big battalions, as they call it over on the Lead Adventure Forum, where I can be found as Warren A-Box. It's a great forum. They call it the age of big battalions, so probably just those 2. Horse and musket. We could play the Civil War era with these same figures if we really wanted to. If you squint really hard, well, actually, you don't even need to squint, do you? With most figures, you'd have to squint, but with these, you're already squinting. Nice little game. Little choices, little things you got to decide. Deployment, very important, right? As is the case in so many cases, deployment can make a huge difference. And choosing who to back you up. If we had brought these guys in and they're firing and doing just D6 -2, take the +2 every time you can. That's your wargaming advice for today. Till next time, I'm praying for you.